So the Dallas Mavericks have started the season 15-16. Definitely a disappointing start to the year. They're currently the 10th seed, a game and a half out of the 8th seed. Now there's still plenty of game left to play in the season. They have over 40 games left and they could still easily make the playoffs. But there has been some talks about who really won the Kristaps Porzingis trade from 2019. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Yeah, that is today's discussion video. It has been almost 2 years since the trade went down. Actually, it's been over 2 years. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know why I thought it happened in March, but no, yeah. It occurred on January 31st of 2019. Damn, it's been 2 years since that. That's crazy. So, yeah, the original trade, or here's it without any picks, the New York Knicks and the Dallas Mavericks have agreed to a trade that will send Kristaps Porzingis, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr. to the Mavericks for Wesley Matthews, an expiring contract, Dennis Smith Jr., who got traded this year, DeAndre Jordan, who was an expiring contract. The Knicks also received a 2021 unprotected Mavericks first, which is their first round pick this year, which, hey, could be in the lottery. And it also is included a 2023 Dallas Mavericks first round pick to the Knicks, but that is top 5. No, I believe that's top 10 protected. So those are pretty much the ins and outs of that trade. The Knicks got Dennis Smith Jr., 2 expiring contracts in Matthews and Jordan, 2021 protected first, and a 2023 top 10 protected first, while the Mavericks got KP, who's still there, Tim Hardaway Jr., who is still there, and Courtney Lee, who is not there at the moment. So we are going to be dissecting this trade, what happened in the fallout with the Knicks, because the reason they made this trade at the time, everyone was talking about, was cap space, right? They're going to get a superstar in free agency. They're going to get KD. They're going to get Kyrie. They might get Kawhi. Jimmy Butler could be involved. Who knows what's going to happen? Kemba Walker might join KD. There was just so many rumblings of the Knicks possibly landing a star in free agency, and it didn't really happen. Obviously, we knew that KD and Kyrie went to New York, but not to the Knicks, to the Brooklyn Nets. Jimmy Butler ended up in Miami. Kawhi Leonard ended up in LA with Paul George, and Kemba Walker ended up in Boston. So the Knicks missed out on pretty much every free agent you could think that they wanted. So immediately it looked like big losers. Now, Kristaps Porzingis has yet to play a game for the Mavericks. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been a solid player for them over the last couple years. Probably still, probably rightfully paid now, maybe a little bit overpaid still, but not too bad. His contract has aged well, and Courtney Lee is not there. Like I mentioned, he had 2 years left on his deal, and he really didn't play much for the Mavericks anyway. Now, for the Mavericks side of this, they've done pretty well. I mean, like, KP has made them a pretty good team. They were the 7th seed last year. Obviously not because of KP, mainly because of Luka, but he has still been a nice complementary piece when he's on the floor. He's currently averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, and about assists a night this year, and you could see throughout his time in Dallas, he played 57 games out of 82 last year, averaging pretty much similar numbers. He has not had as good of a season as he did for his All-Star year in 2018, and he's currently played 17 games out of their 31 this year. He's currently out with a back injury, and he did not play last night in their loss to the Philadelphia 76ers, and I'm recording this on the 26th, so that's why I said last night. So just going back to this trade, it's worked out for the Mavericks in what they've given up, correct? Like, we can't really fully assess who won the trade, who didn't win the trade until 2023. When we know who the Knicks drafted if they got the Mavericks pick, but really not until we know how the careers pan out of their 2021 first and their 2023 first that they got from Dallas, right? Like, they might draft a player that could be really bad to start off or just really not doing much and then ball out, kind of like a Jimmy Butler or Victor Oladipo, or it could be vice versa, somebody that has a solid rookie year or a promising rookie year and then kind of fizzles out, maybe like a Michael Carter-Williams or a Kevin Knox, right? So we have a lot of time to really figure out where we can make like an actual assumption who won this trade. So, now, we can talk about what the Knicks got out of this. Obviously, it was cap space, but that resulted into players. So that resulted into guys like Marcus Morris, Julius Randle, Bobby Portis, Wayne Ellington, Reggie Bullock, Taj Gibson, a plethora of players, Elfrid Payton as well. So about those 8 guys are the notable ones that we really need to talk about. Now, they also, so we can actually talk about some of those guys. Bobby Portis, not there anymore. They declined his team option. Wayne Ellington, not there anymore. Declined his team option. Taj Gibson, they declined his team option, but he came back. He's on the team for a minimum contract. Other guys that aren't on the team is pretty much Marcus Morris. That is an interesting one, but we'll get to that one in a second. Julius Randle, All-Star this year. So they used that cap space to get a guy that was a 2021 All-Star. So that's looking like a plus for the Knicks. They got Reggie Bullock, who is playing meaningful minutes for them pretty much as a shooter. what you'd expect. Elfrid Payton, we all know kind of the love-hate relationship, or more hate relationship Knicks fans have with him, but he's still a solid point guard, but nothing crazy. And then Taj Gibson's still playing right now, as I mentioned. But Marcus Morris, so out of those guys, like Payton and Gibson, nothing really too crazy. Bullock's a nice role player, but they got an all-star Julius Randle, and they got Marcus Morris, who had an incredible start to the 2020 season. The Knicks traded him at the trade deadline for Mo Harkless, who left. So Mo Harkless, technically from the KP trade, but he's not on the team anymore. But they also received the Clippers' first-round pick, which they traded a couple times on draft night. They traded it down to go to the Jazz, or I believe actually they traded up to get the Jazz pick, and then they traded that with the Thunder. And they ended up with that first-round pick, Immanuel Quickley. So yes, Immanuel Quickley is part of the Kristaps Porzingis trade. So notable pieces the Knicks at this moment got from the Kristaps Porzingis trade are Julius Randle, a 2021 All-Star, Immanuel Quickley, who's been playing like a top 5 rookie this year, and those are the two notable ones. You also have, like I mentioned, Taj Gibson, Reggie Bullock, and Elfrid Payton. Now, you could say they wouldn't have 21 cap space, where they ended up signing guys like Alec Burks, Austin Rivers, and as well, but we're not going to really count them in this trade. Those guys are the ones that I mentioned. So right now, from this trade, those guys that I mentioned. Now, they also got Dennis Smith Jr. in this trade. They got Wesley Matthews and DeAndre Jordan. Jordan and Matthews didn't pan out to anything because they were expiring deals. Both went separate ways. Matthews ended up going to Milwaukee. Jordan went to Brooklyn to join KD and Kyrie. Now, Dennis Smith Jr. played a year on the Knicks last year. Was not very good. This year, the Knicks traded him to Detroit when he didn't play at all for them, and a second-round pick. So, yep, you can include a second-round pick in this trade for Derrick Rose. So, ultimately, at the end of the day, through this trade, where we stand 2 years from now, the Knicks on their current roster got these said players. 2021 All-Star Julius Randle, Immanuel Quickley, Derrick Rose, Reggie Bullock, Elfrid Payton, and Taj Gibson. Not terrible, right? Not terrible whatsoever, especially it helps you to say that Julius Randle is a 2021 All-Star. And the Knicks are currently 16-17, the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. And through 33 games, this has pretty much been their best start since 2017-18, when they had Enes Kanter and KP in their front court. So the Mavericks have panned off well. I mean, they made the playoffs. They kind of, I guess, expedited their rebuild, adding a second star or really good young player next to Luka, while the Knicks have taken a step back. I mean, like, the year without KP with the injury where they traded him this year in 2018-19, they tried taking for Zion, didn't work out, and ended up with RJ Barrett. Last year, they were a little bit better, but still not good whatsoever. They ended up with Obi Toppin and Immanuel Quickley. So, really, what we could say in this final trade, the Mavericks got Tim Hardaway Jr. and KP. The Knicks got those 2 first-round picks, Quickley, Randle, Payton, Gibson, and Bullock. So you really have to weigh that. Who do you think got the better end of the trade? So just to lay it out to you, this is pretty much what it is. Like, I don't know. It's still tough to, I think it's still too early to tell. Like, you could say Randle's a better player than KP right now. I mean, some people will probably make that argument. I'd still prefer Kristaps Porzingis over Julius Randle. But if Randle performs like an all-star next year and KP is still struggling to play 50 games in a season, you gotta maybe think about it, right? You gotta think about it. So you guys can really let me know who you guys think won the trade at the moment. I still think we need to wait to figure out where this pick is and what the Knicks end up with that pick and where that pick ends out. So we really can't tell till minimum 2023 on draft night. But then also we kind of got to figure, like, if that pick conveys till 2024, we got to wait till then. And then also kind of see how the careers pan out, really, if we want to figure out what the final verdict is on this trade. So yeah, this is pretty much at this moment what they got from the trade and kind of where it's at now. Let me know in the comments who you think won the trade at this moment. At this moment, I think it's the Mavericks still, but I think the margin has closed a lot from last year, because last year was a clear winner when Randle wasn't really playing all that well, and the Knicks were just in a bleak spot, and you're really hoping to get maybe the 18th pick in the draft this year, and then probably like something in the 20s next year, like at best, because the Mavericks are obviously a good team around Luka Doncic. But the Mavericks have taken a slight step back this year, and Randle has emerged to an all-star. The Quickley pick is working out from the Marcus Morris signing, and they got Derrick Rose for DSJ, and also had to give up a second of their own as well. But yeah, that is going to be for me. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy. Drop a like if you did, and yeah, please let me know in the comments who you think won the trade. Let me know if you enjoy these style of videos. I'll see you on the next one.